Hey, it's Chris Westfall here, and some of our clients that were former retirees or current retirees from AT&T asked us to take a cursory look at what's being proposed for them for 2021, and that's the new United Healthcare PPO. So just looking at a cursory look, some of the things that are inherent with Medicare Advantage are also present in this plan because it is, in fact, a Medicare Advantage plan. And that means that it's operating on the commercial side and not within the confines, rules, restrictions, and benefits of original Medicare with the Medicare supplement. So just a couple of things that strike me looking at the evidence of coverage, usually known as the explanation of benefits. Go down to, what page is this? It's page 77 of 319 pages. And it's got the usual prior authorization language that kind of raises a red flag when it comes to Medicare Advantage plans. And it says that in-network providers, when you're going to a primary care physician, absolutely must get prior authorization for things before they're going to be covered. I'm talking about things like x-rays, even hospital admissions if it's not an emergency or an urgent basis. It says that out-of-network providers that you can see are under no obligation to treat you except in emergency situations. And that's language that's found in all PPO plans with regard to Medicare Advantage. It also says down here, before getting services from an out-of-network provider, you may want to ask for a pre-visit coverage decision to confirm that the services that you are getting are covered and are medically necessary. So while they're saying that out-of-network doctors and specialists do not have to get prior authorization just like an in-network primary care doctor would, if it ultimately turns out that what it is would not have been covered with a prior authorization from an in-network provider, you're going to pay that 100% out of your pocket. Matter of fact, it says it right here. Without a pre-visit coverage decision, now they say that out-of-network there's no prior authorization needed, but you darn sure better get a pre-visit coverage decision, which is basically the same thing. If we later determine that the services are not covered or were not medically necessary, now the commercial plan makes this decision, not Medicare on this right here. We may deny coverage. If they deny coverage, you will be responsible for the entire cost. If we say we will not cover your services, you have your right to appeal. 5 levels of appeal with Medicare Advantage, and it's a long process. So that's just the thing that jumps out there, and I think that was it for the EOC. And then I want to look at a couple of other documents. These are the very, very basic summary documents. This is just the 2-page Member Provider Guide to Care. And at the top, right here, it says, Network Provider, Out-of-Network. You can see any out-of-network doctor if they participate in Medicare and they choose to accept the plan. Will the doctor, talking about out-of-network again, will the doctor bill United Healthcare? If a doctor refuses to directly bill United Healthcare, they may ask for you to pay the full allowable amount out of your pocket at the time of service. In that case, you can pay the doctor, and then you could submit your claim to United Healthcare. When all is said and done, if everything follows the rules, you will be reimbursed for the cost of the claim, less your copay or coinsurance. But it's okay because you can always appeal later. What if my doctor says they will not accept the plan? They will be happy to contact the doctor on your behalf and explain how the plan works. Usually that's all that's needed, but this is the first year of this plan. I say usually that's all that's needed, but how do you know if it's the first year of this plan? And then, of course, it talked about PPO is great because you can go to the network and you can see any provider, even those not participating in the network, as long as they accept the plan. So that's pretty obvious, but sometimes it's not so obvious. And then the other one is this announcement letter that came out. Bring this in here. Right at the beginning, it's just saying that in their mind, it checks all the boxes. It's the best of all worlds. But just one thing that a lot of people are not zeroing in on, and I believe it was $2,700 was the typical reimbursement, the healthcare reimbursement account that you would get if you had a Medicare supplement with them done through Aon. I'm sorry, the drug plan through Aon, and then the supplement through anybody that you want, saving the best money. On the healthcare reimbursement account, it says with the new PPO, you can get a subsidy or subsidy eligible people can get up to $300 for the year, $200 for the dependent, if you buy an additional dental and vision plan. Okay, but here's the most important part. All the way at the end, right here. What happens to my HRA balance if I enroll in the PPO plan? Because remember, the HRA was for you to be able to get your own plan. Well, this plan is no cost if you're eligible for the subsidy. So it says your current balance won't be impacted, so anything that you've earned with it so far. However, with the AT&T Group Medicare Advantage PPO plan, you will not be eligible for HRA crediting, which means there's no more money going toward it. Why? Because they're using that money to offset and to pay for the plan. So for those who thought that they would continue to get that money and get this comprehensive plan, which is more benefit rich than other Medicare Advantage plans, that's not the case. And it says it in black and white. So you have continued coverage for any willing Medicare provider. And now you'll have access to all willing Medicare providers, but they have to be willing. And just want you to know that you're not going to be able to continue to get the HRA crediting that you've been getting before. As far as the drug plan goes, you can look at their entire formulary. And it also lists where the drugs are in the formulary, but they recommend that you call their customer service to find out where your prescriptions will fall in that. One of the typical pitfalls of a Medicare Advantage plan is that they'll take a generic, off-the-shelf Part D drug plan component and just marry it up with a benefit. So what we found in the Part D world is it's sometimes far better, especially if you take 3, 5, 10 medications, to get a standalone Part D drug plan that best suits your particular drug profile. If you have the majority of your drugs that are in tier 2, 3, or 4, then you are going to need a more comprehensive drug plan. Those more comprehensive drug plans are typically not the ones that are married to a Medicare Advantage plan. And in the industry lingos, they call it MAPD for short. It's Medicare Advantage and Part D all put together as one plan. When they put that Part D in with the Medicare Advantage plan, they're typically more along the lines of the Part D plans that are best suited for someone in Tier 1 and 2, which is preferred generics and non-preferred generics, not so much for those that are in Tier 3, 4, and 5. Again, that won't affect the vast majority of people, but if you have ever shopped the drug plans and you've seen that your drugs have shown up in Tier 3 or 4 or a specialty drug, then it would be in your best interest absolutely to really go deep into their drug plan that they're offering here and make sure that you're not going to be paying out the wazoo for the drugs that are a component of this plan. And again, it goes in, and it's just the part that stands out to me is when it says what's the difference between in-network and out-of-network. Network providers have a contract. Obviously, they're accepting less than normal Medicare providers would. Out-of-network do not have a plan. You do have the flexibility as long as they accept the plan. So many times a PPO salesperson in the traditional Medicare Advantage world, an agent such as myself, would say a PPO is just every bit as good as a Medicare supplement. It's not. It would be if every doctor had no problem at all in billing all these hundreds of different plans that are out there that are on PPO. But it takes time and expense and an overt action on their part to bill a one separate unique insurance provider for one plan as opposed to just go ahead and bill Medicare. So some doctors will. Maybe they already have a relationship with United Healthcare and makes it all easy. But that's something you would definitely want to check with any potential provider that you would have, especially when it comes to specialists, high-end specialists, like the best of the best within a particular county. They tend not to typically contract with Medicare Advantage HMOs. So if they've chosen not to be a part of an HMO network, there may be a reason for that, and they may also not choose to take the time out to bill a particular plan's PPO plan. Then the very, very bottom of this document, always want to look for the small print in the very, very end. And this one just says, and it just reminds everyone that as with any Medicare Advantage plan, the formulary, the pharmacy network, and the provider network may change at any time, not just at the beginning of the next plan year. Within Medicare Advantage, you are in a one-year contract. That one-year contract is on you, pulling you out of original Medicare, and you are dependent entirely on this private plan. you're in there for 1 year. The providers, the formulary, and the pharmacy network are not 1-year contracts. Well, they are. They're just not your same year. So they can change those literally at any time. And that has messed up quite a few folks out there. This information is not a complete description of benefits. So it says you need to call an 800 number to really find out the limitations, co-payments, and restrictions that may apply. That's just a little scary. But if you're giving up a Medicare supplement and it's your first time ever going into a Medicare Advantage plan, in theory, you're supposed to be able to take advantage of the trial rate, Medicare Advantage trial rate. And what that says is you can try out a Medicare Advantage plan if it's your first time ever trying it out, if you gave up a Medicare supplement to do so. If you don't like that plan, then you have to appeal it to Medicare, and that's simply by calling Medicare. And usually the frontline people at Medicare, that's 800-633-4227, that frontline person does not have a clue what trial right is. So you'll have to get somebody else involved, like a manager. And then the law says you have to go back and try to get your original Medicare supplement back. If you can't get your Medicare supplement back, then you can get guarantee issue into a Medicare supplement. Now, the only guarantee issue Medicare supplement that's available today for someone who's already been on Medicare up to this point is Plan F. So if you're on Plan N or Plan G, and you were eligible for Medicare prior to January 1 of 2020 when the new MACRA law took effect. So let's say you're 66 right now or older. Then forevermore, if you ever needed a guarantee issue Medicare supplement plan to go to, and this would be one of those cases. Let's say you started on this plan, you find out that you don't like it, within your first 12 months, not every 12 months, but your first 12 months, you can go back to original Medicare and you can get a guarantee issue Medicare supplement. You would have to get Plan F as guarantee issue. Now, if you're in good health, you can still get a Plan G, you can still get a Plan N, no problem, as long as you can health qualify to get back on a Medicare supplement. But when a lot of Medicare agents Medicare Advantage Pro agents will say, it's okay, try it out. If you don't like it, you can go back and get your supplement. That's not true. You can get a supplement, but it'll be Plan F. Now, if you turn 65 in 2020, anytime after January 1, 2020, then the MACRA law applies to you. And then the guarantee issue plan for you would forevermore be Plan G, which is still maybe not the best value. So you can't get Plan N from guarantee issue ever. So again, if you're 66 or over, or you're eligible for Medicare before January 1, 2020, and you exercise trial right, then Plan F is going to be your go-to. The most expensive and the highest rated plan as far as rate increases goes that's in Medicare. That's going to be the fallback position. But again, you can get Plan N later if your health allows you to do that. Just understand that for a lot of people, especially if you get over the 12-month period of the trial right, if you wish to go back to original Medicare with no prior authorizations or whatever it was, certifications and all that, the only way you can do that is to forego getting a Medicare supplement if something has happened with your health that no longer lets you get one later. And that does unfortunately happen. So anyway, that's my just summary look at what the plan is. It's a Medicare Advantage plan. It's got a lower max out-of-pocket than most. It has out-of-network opportunities. How do they actually perform with that? We don't know. Seems to be a new plan. But time will tell, and we'll have lots of stories this time next year. But as far as November 2020, that's my take on it. So best of luck with it. Let us know if we can help.